Okay, we are live. So this is episode 93 of Nansen Office Hours. So I've got Sean with me today from the NFT squad. And of course, we're going to be looking at all of our amazing NFT features, hopefully to help improve your investing and your trading strategies for NFTs. So drop your GMs in the chat, ask anything that you'd like. And if before we start, if you're new to Office Hours, every week, every Wednesday even, we do a Nansen and Chill session. We look at new features, answer any questions, hopefully provide some alpha, and go over all of our amazing products. So make sure that you subscribe, turn notifications on, and that is about it. So, Sean, if you are ready, good morning as well, Sean. It's quite early for us.
Good morning, Alex. Yeah, it's pretty
Yes.
early here in Singapore. Nice to finally be on office hours.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we're going to start off our NFT journey with trends and indexes. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, so to start off, if you guys are not really familiar with what we're building here at NFT dashboards, anything that you see in the NFT Analytics tab, that's pretty much owned by the NFT squad. And today I'll sort of be giving you an overview into how to make use of our dashboards, what these different dashboards is supposed to help you with figuring out for the market. So I'm going to start off with trends and indexes. Most of the time, people go to NFT Paradise, right? Just because it's all the way at the top. And when people see NFT, they click into it. But I want to start off from trends and indexes, because trends and indexes is a place where you kind of get like a market level overview or statistics of how different marketplaces are performing. And it's good to always check in here on a daily basis or on a weekly basis just to see how the market is performing. So you right now it is specific to individual chains. So you can see by default we are on Ethereum chain, and you can sort of see the volume not doing really well across different marketplaces, at least for the past few months. So market trends, there are a few tabs here. We are currently at the first tab, right, which is sort of an overview of the year. You sort of see statistics on like the year-to-date volume, how much wallets have sort of been on the different marketplaces trading, and also you get a sneak preview of how the 30-day volume is like month on month. So over here, you get a breakdown of the volume across different marketplaces. So I think over the past few quarters, we've been actively trying to expand our coverage. So pseudo swap was one of the really quick initiative that we picked up, right, and tried to integrate it when it was picking up hype. One of the first NFT AMM that we actually picked up over here. If you continue to scroll down, you can sort of see users per week, how many users are coming back, and even down to the hour level. And if you're not looking at just unique wallets or users per se, you can actually take a look at transactions as well. So you can see some really weird spikes here, right? So this is probably due to like minting activity. So mints over here refer to, you know, any smart contract minting activity that's going on. So you do see this number popping up once in a while. But in general, you can see how many transactions there have been per hour across the different marketplaces. And one cool thing is if you're only concerned about specific marketplaces, for example, if you're like an OpenSea fan or like a LooksRare fan, you can filter by marketplaces at the top left. So over here, we can just sort of look at OpenSea data if you wish as well. Yeah, and you kind of get like a single color chart if this is much better for you when you're doing your due diligence or trying to observe how the markets are moving at a macro level. Further down below, there are two more sections. So the first one is on user activity. You see the wallets that are involved in buying and selling here, right? So we leave it open to how our users want to interpret this data, right? So if you kind of see more buying happening compared to selling, what exactly does it mean, right? The wallets that are being involved. And then you kind of see buyers per day. I think this is a chart that most people like to look at just because you can see how many first-time buyers are coming into the market. It kind of tells you whether NFTs are sort of gaining traction, but not necessarily, I would say, because we identify them based on wallets. So, you know, if a user is always creating a new wallet for a specific collection, you can't always say that a first-time buyer is essentially not the same person behind the screens, right? And below here, you get some of the other interesting data as well, recent sweeps. I think I saw a Twitter thread recently, someone pointing out that this was the most useful chart for him in identifying alpha. And then down below, you can kind of see the most expensive purchases in the past 24 hours. Most of this happens around blue chips. So it'd be quite interesting to see, what are some of the blue chips that are fetching higher prices. You can even investigate further into the different collections or items from here. So we'll go more into God Mode, which is exploring a specific collection, and also Item Profiler as well. Contract activity is something that's pretty interesting. So right now, we kind of do it based on number of sales per week. But ultimately, I think we do want to look at volume as well, just because sales can sometimes be really different from volume. You can have a smart contract that has high number of mints, right? But then if the price is low, you can imagine the volume not being that significant. And this is interesting because it helps you to sort of see what kind of gauge like the level of hype in the market. And further down below here, you can kind of see how much people are interacting with different contracts. So OpenSea being the dominant, marketplace in the scene, you can see how like their CPOT contracts obviously has the most number of users. But what's interesting as well is that you start to see like some of the other marketplaces popping up. So you can see Gem starting to gain a good amount of users in the past few days. And yeah, so overall, this is trends and indexes. I think most of the time when people are looking at macro statistics, they like to come over here just to understand how the market is doing first before starting off any sort of deep dive.
Am I lagging? Sorry, everyone. Hopefully not. Can you hear me, Sean?
Yeah, I can perfectly.
Okay. Hopefully, I haven't just lost connection.
No, I think
Yeah.
you're good.
Okay.
Good.
I was going to say if I get, because your screen is slow a bit, but if you go back on that wallet activity chart, Sean, the one with like buying and selling, I thought that's like an interesting chart because I had a good example the other day from Alex because I was asking like, isn't it 1-to-1 on like there's always two parties, I guess, to a transaction? But I think you made an interesting point that like the chart is showing. So for example, if I buy 10 penguins from 10 sellers, that means there's one buyer, 10 sellers. So I guess to me there's like an interesting way of like looking at supply. If there's a few sellers but a lot of buyers, then obviously a lot of supply is like in the hands of a few people. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting way of like interpreting that chart because I look at it often and I always thought like, how do you actually understand that?
I think it's also nice, like if you're starting to see more buyers, more buying compared to selling, it also kind of shows more collection having more exposure in different wallets, right? Because you have multiple different wallet entities buying from the same seller, and that's why you sort of have more buying compared to selling wallets.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, have we looked at the indexes while
Not
we
yet.
are
Yeah,
here?
so we'll jump into indexes. So NFT indexes is something that's really proprietary to Nansen. So what we do is that every quarter we sort of rebalance this NFT indexes by looking at some of the different baskets, right? Very similar to how your S&P 500 works. We classified them into blue chips, social NFTs, game NFTs, art NFTs, and also metaverse NFTs. So if you pop over right to the next tab here, you can see a very nice overview comparison of the different sort of group of baskets of NFTs that we've identified. This is a really, really cool chart that wasn't actually here until we did a research report and someone said, hey, it would be good to really put this side by side and compare them across each other. So you can see sort of in April, right, you have like metaverse NFTs popping off a little, and you can see like gaming NFTs sort of slowed down quite a bit, right? And it's sort of plateau. Most of them have sort of plateau a little. But it's quite interesting to see that in the past few days, we have blue chips and social chips picking up a little bit over here in indexes. If you continue to scroll down, you can also look at some of their individual changes for year to date, right? And yeah, I will not run through. I think this is pretty self-explanatory for this. You can see the daily change as well for the different baskets. So in general, in market trends, just to sort of summarize it a little bit, in market trends, you're sort of seeing volume across different marketplaces, right? And then when you come to NFT indexes, it's more of how the performance of different categories of NFTs are doing in the market. Right, you can also explore them individually. So for example, going into Nansen NFT 500, which is the basket for all the different top 500 NFTs, you can look at some of the collections that we've covered inside, right? So if you look at blue chip, it'll be quite interesting to see what Nansen sort of categorized as blue chips. We will not sort of review too much about like how the backend is like. I think we have a blog post on that, on how we sort of qualify different collections into the blue chip index, or what kind of criteria they must meet in terms of trading volume, in order for them to make it as like a blue chip, right? So we could expand this, but at the same time, we're gonna keep it to 10 just to make sure we are really capturing some of the top most traded collections in the NFT space.
I think it's important to mention there as well, like looking at that blue chip 10, I'm sure some people will be like, what is Sandbox doing in a blue chip 10? But obviously then that would be like more of a subjective list. So obviously we've just used like a metric and data to kind of get the 10. Same for like squiggles. You might feel like, is that a blue chip 10? I don't know. Should there be pudgy penguins in there? Who knows? Okay. Okay, so do we want to look at now like discovery methods? So NFT Paradise, if we start with that.
Yeah, so definitely I'll jump straight to NFT Paradise, which I think most people are really familiar with. So for NFT Paradise, you start off with the market overview. This page here really shows you what's happening across collections compared to across marketplace, which we were looking at the previous time. So what's really cool is you kind of get the same stats that you will see in most broad marketplaces, right? Like how the floor has been changing, what's the exposure of wallets to each collection, and also what's the average price that has been traded at for the past few days. What's really interesting here is that if you scroll down as well, you have a profit leaderboard. So this profit leaderboard defaults to an all time frame where you can see some of the top most profitable traders, right? But at the same time, if one of the reasons why we added time buttons to profit leaderboard is because someone who has sort of made a lot of money in the space might not necessarily continue to be a good trader right now, right? In the short term period, he might be someone who got really lucky and picked up a few punks or a few bolips really early and kind of sold them at the peak of it. So it's really interesting that you can check out different time frames and sort of see where you belong, right? There are, like, if you look at the smaller time frames, you probably kind of get people who are trading with like lesser capital and being able to flip NFTs for a huge revenue. So it's really cool to be able to check those out depending on what kind of trader you are. And I'm just gonna quickly run through like Mint Master as well. So Mint Master has sort of stayed the same. It shows you the latest mints that are happening in the market, right? And there's a very nice FOMO indicator here as well. And if you continue to scroll down, you can see what smart minters are minting for 24 hours. So this is a pretty useful chart because most Nansen users are really interested in smart money. We can also see some of the latest reviews that are happening, right? And how their 24-hour volume is doing. So for those with higher volume, it kind of gives me more conviction as well. If this collection has a good amount of volume traded, I know many people are involved in it. There's a lot of trades going on. I'll most likely check those out. And then all the way at the bottom, you have minting leaderboard. So minting leaderboard, it's different from profit leaderboard just because minting leaderboard captures people who mint and subsequently flip for a profit. So depending on what kind of trader you are, if you're someone who's primarily on secondary sales, you can look at profit leaderboard. If you're someone who likes to be early and capturing mints, you can actually look at some of the wallets here in minting leaderboard. They might be wallets who have alpha, right, or have a way in tracking what's the next hype collection. So it's cool to even try and find them out on Twitter, to follow them or get involved or get connected with them. to get some alpha out of this. Yeah. And then next, smart money tab. So this is everything related to smart money. This board over here is generally really nice just to see what smart money is doing, right? So over here we can see a few separate smart money wallets, one which is like 0xB, and then you have 0xC as well, and you can see the collection that they are involved in, right? So we have some bot machine, we have, well, there's quite a lot of bot machine being minted, and then we have like Fair XYZ also. So yeah, feel free to check out the collections and do your own due diligence, which I will jump onto that later as well. You can see smart money buys, right? So what people have been buying from smart money wallets in the past 24 hours or 7 days or 30 days as well. And also smart money selling and smart money minting, right? So we always break down into these 3 different categories, like buys, sells, and mints as well. Yeah, and at the bottom you can kind of see like how smart money is performing, right? How much they have been spending on a daily basis, and how much investment like returns they are getting from selling their NFTs as well. So if there's a period of time where you start to see like smart money sort of losing a lot with the net loss, it's probably not a good sign to continue to look at smart money. There might be something happening in the markets, or some of the smart money might no longer be like as smart as we think they are anymore. Yeah.
Sean, if you just go on that smart money tracker one at the top, I find this really helpful. Like the type column, you can then just change it to buy, because as we saw there, no, you don't even need to filter. You can just press the buttons a few times. One more, yeah. Because like just then we saw loads of mints, and sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to mint something, but you want to know what they're buying. So for example, here this person's like swooping Cool Pets, which is quite interesting because obviously Cool Cats is like an older collection now. So do they know something? That then you can go and have a look at that. Someone's still buying Rangers, Ghosties. So often like just filtering by buy, and then also sell, like by sell as well. If you find like there's a collection that's been really hyped recently, you can then see, okay, is like smart money now selling it or whatever. So obviously they're giving up on Pet Ghost Club. No idea what that is. But yeah, it's like a really easy way to like actually find what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think even we can also filter by specific collections, right? If you just want to see what smart money is doing with a specific collection, you can play around with the filters here to make sure that the collection name contains like the one that you're looking at. So the next one is NFT Sniper, which is a pretty huge launch for us. So right now, NFT Sniper still sits as an early release for Nansen users. And we are looking to launch this to standard. So no promises yet, but we are sort of analyzing how this tool is doing. We're getting feedback from VIP and alpha users to continue improving on this. So NFT Sniper was created or sort of backed by a price estimator machine learning model, which learns across the trading collection, the buy-sell behavior across multiple collections. And as long as a collection has sufficient amount of sales, it has its trades properly collected on Nansen, we are able to make predictions on its estimated price. So what's really interesting in this undervalued listings, or rather why we call it undervalued listing, is because first of all, we value it based on the listed time. So you can see this chart by default sorts by the listed time, right? Because you can see an undervalued listing, but you might be too late if we don't sort it by the listed time. So what we do is we look at estimated price. So this column here, all the prices you see is something that it's produced by our machine learning model. And the listed price is, of course, what is being listed on OpenSea as of right now. And we can see the estimated difference. So this is more like the potential gains that you can get from the NFT if you look at this column. Not saying it's 100%, and you can kind of see the estimated difference and what's the current floor of the collection. So it's quite interesting to see, right? Like even if we look at all NFTs here, you're starting to see a lot of blue chips involved, and I guess I'm seeing more ape actions because of the news yesterday, right? Of the Bored Ape saga being investigated, I guess you're starting to see some holders maybe listing some of the premium NFTs below what they are worth, right? So you can see some bottoms here that are supposedly worth 16 ETH based on our price estimator model, but it's being listed at 14.67 ETH. And you can sort of start your due diligence or your discovery from this path, right? Whether you want to look at like the collection itself and see how it's trending, or you want to look at the item itself to try and understand why it's being priced in a certain way. Over here, we made some really quick filters as well. Some people want to filter out the noise, right? So you might be seeing some collections that you have no interest in, especially for the lower market caps ones. And you can just really quickly filter for like Nansen Index 500 to see some of the more notable ones that you're really interested in. So for me personally, I kind of use this table only to look at blue chips, because whenever I think the market is a good time for me to pick up blue chips, I come to this chart to try and see what are some of the undervalued ones that should be a premium. Yeah, so that's really interesting depending on how you want to use it. I think it's a very good place for user discovery. Yeah, and then
This
at the
is
bottom,
Sean, a really, really small point.
mhm,
But if you want to see the NFTs, like you can see there, we've got the tiny images. But if you hover over them,
yeah,
then you can actually see what they look like. Because I'm sure some people want to know like what they're buying.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so this is a really nice preview of the NFTs, right? But at the same time, you can also dive deeper into Item Profiler to really see what are the specific traits that makes it priced, or being estimated at a specific price by our machine learning model. If we continue to scroll down over here, we have just another table here on the overview of estimations. So just a side note, like not all the estimations are 100%, right? So what our machine learning model still struggles with is more specifically like art NFTs, just because like the metadata for art NFTs sometimes can be really specific, especially if they are one-of-one arts. It's hard to pick them up and differentiate one-of-one arts from each other, just because their rarities don't really have a statistical way to rank them. So overview of estimations, you can kind of see how the machine learning is performing across different collections. And over here, you see estimated market cap as well. I personally don't use market cap when I'm trading. I kind of just look at the volume that's being traded. But what this estimated market cap is basically instead of calculating the market cap for a collection based on its floor price, we are kind of looking at each individual NFT's worth in the collection and summing them up to give you a more accurate representation of market cap for NFTs. Yeah, so that's basically NFT Sniper, and that should wrap up like Paradise, NFT Paradise, which is cool.
Should we start? If you want to go on the market overview, Sean, and then maybe we could pick out like one collection that looks cool or interesting, and we can like go into NFT God Mode for it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was gonna start from NFT Sniper, but
yeah, or anything, yeah.
We can start from here as well. Yeah. So for example, like with the recent news on the apes, we could probably look at Mutant Ape, or we can look at BAYC as well. So you can click on NFT collection. Earlier in NFT Sniper, you can actually jump into both the collection specifically or the item itself, right? So it's really easy. Just mouse over like the items, right? And if you sort of see this blue underlying teal color, you kind of know you can click on it. So right now we are in God Mode. So God Mode is the next layer of discovery, or I would say due diligence, depending on where you're coming from, right? And it's specific to a single collection. In overview, you kind of get a lot of general stats over here, right? The floor price, the 24-hour volume, and the supply. You also get some useful links to the different marketplaces. So we're thinking of adding Gem into here as well, just because it's an aggregator right now. You can see individual transactions over here, right? You can also see like whether smart money is buying. So you could see like the last time smart money bought is probably earlier in July, right? 10 to 17 July. And the 24-hour average price, I think it's not doing very well. Like it's down 7.13% ever since the news came in. But at the same time, it's interesting to see how the max price that is being sold off has went up, right? So someone probably came in and picked up some of the more premium ones at a higher price. Yeah, so this is like overview, pretty generic. Like the information that you get would be You could probably find this and in a lot of other analytics platform as well.
This
Moving on
page is
to
that page is actually on Nansen Lite. So the overview you can get for free. I think maybe one chart is missing. Yeah, but most of that data is free for anyone to access.
yeah. Next, we'll jump into balances. So recently in the last quarter, we did a redesign of God Mode and how it sort of how we name the different subtabs within God Mode, just to make it clearer. So for balances, you can kind of see in overall everything that's related to the change in balance, or how much people are moving NFTs from one wallet to another. So over here you can see this guy who is a smart money, right at the top, like the change in 24 hours. It's already sort of like sold off 20 NFTs.
Or
and he's
yeah, I'm just thinking, or they've moved those 20 to that Tornado Cash withdrawer because it
yeah,
seems a
that's possible as
coincidence.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's possible as well. So we could potentially dive into this wallet, right, to check out the transfer, whether it was a sale or was it a transfer of NFTs from one wallet to another. Right. So yeah, right, that you most probably you see like a lot of matching numbers here. Like this guy would have an increase in 3 and another guy would have a decrease in 3. You can see the balance of their NFTs as well. So you can see here like Machi brother, right? Machi big brother, he's kind of possibly transferred one or sold one, and right now his balance is at 68, which is still pretty high. Moving further down, you kind of get the top balances of different wallets in the space. So yeah, if you're someone who's really heavily into like the ape ecosystem, and you want to follow all these smart wallets that are holding on to it, feel free to set up smart alerts for them, etc. At the bottom here as well, you see the different top balances over time. Right now, we are showing the top 5 balances over time for MAYC, and below here you would be wondering why profit leaderboard kind of appeared twice, right? So we touched about this in NFT Paradise. So right now, when we are in God mode and we see profit leaderboard, this is actually the profit leaderboard for the specific collection, right? So if you're looking at Mutant Ape right now, this would be the profit leaderboard for Mutant Ape. So how much profits have people made just based on this collection itself? So it's really interesting to see this smart money over here making 1.2K in ETH. You can see how many he's bought, which is 126, and he's sold 103 to kind of generate that kind of profit that he's making.
That's an influencer, old shiny. I did not know that. That's the first time I've seen that. He's made loads from mutant apes, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. So if we continue to go down, you get some of the generic information of where this collection is most being transacted at, like in terms of the sales platform. We do see OpenSea dominating, right? And most of them, of course, come from the means at the start of the MAYC collection. We see Looks Rare covering 5% as well. And over here, you get like a small percentage being traded in ApeCoin, right? Because recently they launched the token, and you can actually trade and offer based using ApeCoin on OpenSea. So that's for the balances tab. And for the owners tab, there has been a huge redesign as well. We've broken it down into 3 sections. The first one being quality and hand strength, distribution, and related collections. What's really interesting that I really want to point out, I wouldn't run through each of them individually. I think I'm taking up quite a bit of time. So for top diamonds hands, we've added this column here called average days held. At Nansen, we really want to equip you with your own ability to define what you deem as a diamond hand, instead of us coming to say, oh, this guy's a diamond hand because it's held for 30 days. 30 days might not be the same metric that you as an NFT trader define as a diamond hand for a specific collection. I think different collections probably have different criteria of diamond hands, right? Like a newer collection would have lesser days. A more mature collection should have a higher number to qualify as a diamond hand. So you can filter now based on average days held, right? So if you're interested in looking at users who have held more than 100 days, you can sort of filter it, and you can get a nice list of people who have been really holding on to MAYC for a long time. And yeah, just really quickly covering the different tabs in God mode. For trades, you can see what are the most recent trades that have been happening for the collection, the top addresses that are buying, right? And for smart money buying. So you don't see any data here right now. Most of the time it's because like in the past 7 days, there isn't any smart money that is buying. We are changing this up to, instead of looking at like the past 7 days period, we are looking at the past X amount of trades from smart money, right? Just so that data will always be available here in the chart for you guys. So the update is actually coming up real soon. And yeah, you guys will probably see it on Twitter when the update goes live. Next up, we have listings. So listings over here show all the new listings that comes up on OpenSea. And we have added like the estimated price here, which is the same machine learning model that was predicting in Paradise NFT Sniper, just so that over here you can kind of get a quick reference on whether there's money to be made. Not 100%, but it's nice to really see the estimated price over here. Next one that I really like, so you can see everything related to listings here, right? The floor price, number of NFTs listed. I really like this chart here, which shows the distribution of like the current listings, right? And you can see right now there are 28 NFTs within the price range of 15 to 16. So if you know the floor is at 15, there's 28 of them that is preventing the floor from getting up to 16. So it's nice to see how this is being distributed. Most of them are still within like 29 to 59, which I think sits along the premium pricing of like MAYC. Yeah, so most of these charts here helps you to get an understanding of the listings activity. So if there are more listings happening, you kind of sort of know that people are trying to get rid of a specific collection. The next one is on owners activity, which is very good for discovery. Over here, you can see what owners of MAYC is traded or what are they involved in for other collections. So this is a good way to start discovery onto other collections as well, right? So I wouldn't dive too much into this. Rarity is really cool. You can see the top 2,000 NFTs based on their rarity score. You have its estimated price here as well. And you can also see the distribution of the different trades, right? So you could see some of the rarer ones over here, which are like your mega MAYCs, of course, and they only have one NFT with that specific trade. You start to see like the pizza, mostly around like the mouth trades are the ones that are more rare next in line. Yeah, so this is really cool for you to understand how the rarity for a specific collection is distributed.
There is, Sean, if you stay on that 1 second, there's like I don't know what you call it, it's kind of alpha. If you use the rarity table there, it's not going to be a good example for mutant apes, but I've done it for like bored apes before. If you then went to like the sales column and you just went down to 1, you can then see how many people have held since mint, and like have done no sales since then. So I think mutant apes were a free mint, right, for bored ape holders, and then probably some extra, I'm not sure, but like if you did the same for bored apes, you can either filter by like 1 sale or you can go on last price, and you can find out if you go by 1 sale what the mint price was. So for bored apes, I think from memory it was like 0.08, if we were looking at bored apes instead. So it's like a way of finding out what the mint price was and how many holders are holding since mint. And I think that was like relevant fairly recently when that Bendal stuff happened, because you could start to notice that a lot of the people selling, when it was like more panicky and like 60, 70 ETH, were people who had minted. So it's obviously people will start to feel like they don't want to round trip their stuff or whatever. Obviously, you're not going to round trip, but you're going to come to a much lower price. They might start feeling like, okay, I don't want to miss out on this like huge pump that they've had. So it's interesting to see like who's selling. Is it the older holders? Is it the newer people? And then you can like make decisions based on that.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, over here, this chart is interesting as well, right? You kind of see how the market is performing based on trades. Yeah, so that's really cool. And next one is on price estimates. So previously we called that NFT Sniper because that table there on undervalued listings allow you to start your discovery from understanding what items might be undervalued across multiple collections. For price estimates, this sits in God mode, and it's really specific to a collection that you're looking at. So you can see the listed price and estimated value here, right? Based on, yeah, so this is really nice. Like it's like more of like based on MAYC, what are some of the highest undervalued listings, right? So that gives you a really cool overview into a specific collection. You can see the top trade types by estimated value, and also how the estimated price spans across the different the whole collection here. Yeah, so from here, I think it's a good time for us to like dive deeper, one step beyond God mode into item profiler. So for example, if you're really interested in, oh, is there really potential in earning this six ETH difference, right? That the price estimator has sort of pointed out. You can click into this specific item, which brings you to our NFT item profiler. So right, so this is really cool, right? Under the price estimates, you have overview and also price estimates. I'm gonna start from price estimates. You kind of see the estimated price from the machine learning model. At the same time, what's really interesting is over here, like this table here, which shows you top trades type by estimated value. You can see and understand why this NFT is being valued at, the price that it is. So the column over here, which shows the median estimated price, kind of takes, how do I put it? So it shows for all the MAYCs, sorry, we are right now at, yeah, so for all the MAYCs that has the M1 bought unshaven pizza, what has it been sold at historically? And we take the median price of it. We kind of estimate all the prices of these bought apes with unshaven pizzas, and we take the median one. And this is how you get like the median estimated price of this bought ape. So you can see only 37 NFTs actually have this specific mouth. And I believe that's also the reason why this is priced at a premium slightly higher than the listed price. So so in general, I think I use item profiler with price estimates just to see what are the important traits that gives it that estimated price. At the bottom here, it's sort of the same chart where you get to discover the other listings as well, right? So you can look at similar items that are priced in the same way. And if we look at overview, this is just gives you a really quick rundown on the past trades that have happened, right? So you can see a sale happening at 2.8 ETH. If we look over here, and then another one following at 8.88 ETH, and this was a very, very long time ago, like 331 days ago. Yeah, so that more or less covers like item profiler and how you can deep dive into a specific item to understand why it's being priced or how it's been trading across time previously.
Yeah. What do you want to do next? Do you want to do the wallet profiler for NFTs or?
Oh, so actually from here, it's we can jump straight to Rarity Profiler.
Okay, sure.
Right. So for example, we identified earlier that they bought unshaven pizza or something interesting that we can look at. So if we click into it, similarly, you'll be able to see our Rarity Profiler. So Rarity Profiler gives you a really quick summary of a specific trait of an NFT. So right now we are currently filtered into bought unshaven pizza, right? And you know that 37 of the NFTs from the collection actually has this trait. You can see all of them being showcased here and who actually owns them. So if I'm not wrong, if you look at specific bought apes with a specific trait, you would see that maybe majority of the holders belong to the same wallet, because from what I recall, like sometime last year there were people collecting really specific trait bought apes and kind of like shilling them on Twitter to get everyone involved in it. You can also really quickly see the estimated price here as well, right? You can filter by this to find out who actually has the highest estimated price for those with the specific trait here, which is the bought unshaven pizza. You can see how the average price is being traded at for this specific trait, and also take a look at some of the latest transactions here that are being performed that is specific to the trade as well. So that is a very quick roundup of Rarity Profiler. I think a lot more can be unpacked from this. But we'll just keep it to this right now. And the last one would be Wallet Profiler. So for Wallet Profiler, there's a lot of places where you can go into Wallet Profiler, right? So earlier, most of them comes from God Mode, right? So if you're at Balances tab or Owners tab earlier, these are all places where you can go into a specific wallet. So let's say we want to take a look at maybe Sandbox Wallet, which is categorized as a smart money. Right, so in Wallet Profiler, you have many different views. You have overview, counterparties, but more specifically, you have an NFT view to it. And the first thing that you're greeted here is a value card that shows you the estimated portfolio value, which is 6.59K ETH for Sandbox. And you can kind of see the liquidity level. This liquidity is based on our metrics, right? But you can see how many NFTs within that wallet is actually liquid. This allows you to know whether what value of this wallet can actually be liquidated quickly to get back the cash. Oh, sorry, the dashboard just sort of loaded. It's 3.8K ETH for Sandbox, right? And you can also see as well some of the recent purchases, buys and sells being made. So you can see mostly are buys from Sandbox, right? Picking up some of the different collections. I know recently they picked up Cool Cats as well with the announcement with
Did we
Animoca
just
brands.
disconnect, or is that me?
I can still hear you though. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Alex?
Yes, I think I can. I don't know what happened there.
Okay. Are you seeing my
Apparently
screen?
people can hear me. Yes, we can see it now. Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so in the recent buys and sells, you can kind of see what they've been involved in, whether they are buying more or selling more for a specific wallet. Sandbox is probably not the best wallet that we should dive into, just because I think they are buying a lot more than they are selling compared to a traditional NFT trader. And at the bottom, you can see the NFT portfolio profile, which shows you the balance of different collections. And of course, like you have 65,000 Sandbox asset in a Sandbox wallet, right? You can see the total estimated value of it as well. So this estimated value actually comes from the same machine learning model that Nansen is using across our dashboards. What's really interesting below also is you can see the realized gains that is being made and how this user has been making money, right? So let me see if I can find a different wallet that probably can be more interesting. Right?
Did you mention, Sean, as well, like you can look at NFT Profiler now on Nansen Portfolio?
Oh, yes, you can actually do that.
Yeah, so you can do that on Nansen Portfolio as well. If you connect your own wallet, you can look at your own wallet. If you've got a Nansen sub, you can do very similar as we are here. So you can look at it on Portfolio as well. Can we just ask one question as well, Sean, from the chat? Can you explain about the rarity score or estimation logic? So price may reflect a variety of things. Can you share some points on what you're looking at for rarity?
Right. So for rarity over at Nansen, it's a very statistical approach that we have done it up. So rarity is something that's still really blurry in NFT space. That's from me having conversations with different partners like NFT Sniper or Trade Sniper or even OpenSea themselves. Just because rarity is something that should be developed by the creators of a specific collection. So for example, I might intend for a specific trait to be really rare, right? And depending on how I generated the collection, it might not turn out the way it's meant to be. Like we see that in Azuki as well, where the number of traits actually matter compared to other collections where they have the same amount of traits but different values for each of them. So at Nansen, what we do is a very statistical approach. So basically, if we have 10 NFTs which have a specific trait, which is let's say pizza mouth, and we have 20 which has another specific trait. Obviously, the one with 10 NFTs would have a higher ranking compared to the other one with 20. So it's a very statistical approach, which might not be really representative of all collections, just because of what I explained earlier. Different creators have different intentions when they are creating the rarity. So it's really important to get connected with the collections in the community level as well, to understand, whether a specific trait is what it's intended to be in terms of rarity. And the question on the machine learning model, what we look at is the rarity and also the past sales that are being performed on that collection itself. But also as a whole, the machine learning model trains across multiple collections, because I think people trade the same, or the behavior is very much the same across most of the collections, right? And that's how we want the machine learning model to learn across them.
I think you make a good point actually as well. Like even recently, OpenSea added that like rarity data as well to some collections. But you kind of need to also go in and, like Sean said, talk with the communities. Obviously, for penguins as well, like there's like certain traits that are like more desirable to the community, but based on like statistics, they're not actually like technically rare. So you can also miss out on bargains if you don't also get like into the communities and see what they actually want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that wraps up neatly with us at Wallet Profiler. Just a really quick recap, right? If some of you who are joining us late, start off exploring Nansen. I would advise start off at trends and indexes. That gives you a really nice macro overview of how the NFT space is performing across marketplaces. Feel free to filter them across the NFT supported chains as well. And then from there, you can sort of hop over to Paradise. This gives you a collection level overview of how different collections is performing in the space. From here, it's really up to you how you want to explore or do your further due diligence. You can look very specifically into smart money, which a lot of our Nansen users do, or you could dive deeper into a collection in God mode to understand, how the balances have been changing, whether there are more listings or is there more selling than buying. Or you can, in God mode, right? So after you're in God mode, this is where you start diving into specific wallets, right? How did this guy accumulated like 38 balance? Feel free to dive into that wallet to figure out when he picked those 38 MAYCs. Did he DCA in, or did he pick them all up just the previous week? So all this would give you information into what different wallets are doing for different collections, and it should support your investment thesis when you're trading with Nansen.
I think I just make one point as well, because like we had a look at mutant apes, but if you're doing a new collection, especially something that's like come out, like let's say today, like a free mint or something, I think we have really good diligence data for that. So if you dive into the collection and you find out like the supply to holder ratio type of things, you look at, is smart money buying, is it specific smart money that you're interested that's buying as well? So I always look for like certain wallets that I know hold for like an X amount of time and don't flip straight away, whatever. So it's really important to like have a look, who are the holders, how many whales are there, is like the supply all in like a few hands, because then it's less appealing to buy because you feel like they might just end up dumping on you. So there's tons of things, smart money, delistings, things like this, how many listings to get to a certain floor. So all of this data is like really, really effective for like new mints, especially. And then also for like, as we looked at mutant apes, if you hold something for a while and you want to know, okay, is it a good time to sell now? So for instance, today, all the Bored Ape news comes out. So that's like off-chain data. If you look at the on-chain data and actually no one's selling, or people are buying, in fact, for whatever reason, it's really important to like combine both. So the use case is across like old collections, ones that you're holding when you want to know to sell, and then also if you want to know to buy, if you should hold, all of this. So all of the data is kind of up to you to use, but it can be applied across like all use cases, basically.
Yeah. Can I we'll do one last shout out?
Sure.
There's actually a new smart alert feature. I'm not sure whether you have showcased it in office hour, but there's a smart alert now specific to NFT floor prices. which is really, really cool. So for most of our tiered users, you're able to create a smart alert, right? So feel free, for example, if you've been eyeing on MAYC a really long time, right? You can just make this a specific name and you can add the description to it. So perhaps you're waiting for MAYC to hit 12 ETH, right? Given the new news release that came out. You can actually click to NFTs only and you can put floor price here. And this is where you can select like MAYC as a collection. And you can see over here, we currently have sales floor available. So just to give some context on what sales floor is, it's basically the lowest sales that has happened in the past X hours, right? And of course, listing floor is the next one that will come up. This listing floor will be huge because it technically gives you a buy signal into the price that you're willing to pay for a collection. So you get a real quick notification, you hop onto Nansen and you go to the right marketplace and you're able to get into the blue chip collection that you've been eyeing for a really long time. So you can see the current sales floor is at 14 ETH, right? But if you really want to get alerted of, if you're already holding a bag and you want to get alerted when MAYC is up on 20 ETH and you can potentially start selling your bags, this is a potential alert that you can have as well. So feel free to exploit the smart alerts. I really love this new feature that came up. But I'll encourage you guys to make use of it as well to help you so that you don't have to be staring at charts all day, right? So make use of the tools that we have at Nansen to help you with trading.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to quickly touch on, Sean, like future things that might be coming? And while I say that as well, if anyone ever has like ideas or they want to give feedback or they want some specific feature added, we have a feedback page. It's feedback.nansen.ai. Also, you can DM us, of course. You can DM me ideas. You can DM Sean. What is it? The Lou guy is your handle. Yeah, DM any of us ideas. But Sean, what have we got coming up? Is there anything that you can reveal?
Yeah, so in Q4, some interesting things are coming up. So definitely expect more cool widgets that are coming up in God Mode to help you better understand a collection's performance. This could be anything. I'm not gonna leak too much here, but it could be anything, and it could be even one of the feedback ideas that you guys send our way. But more on a broadly, some of the larger initiatives is for trends and indexes. I think there's a need for us to show some of the values here in terms of USD currency, right? Or just basically being able to filter across multiple currencies when we are looking at overall macro trends. This doesn't just help like NFT traders, it helps like journalists or researchers to be able to compare across chains. This is also in preparation for multi-chain dashboards when we try and look at performance of NFTs across different blockchains. Next up, we are also trying to include more coverage for listings data. So we can potentially see X2, Y2 listings coming up, looks rare listings coming up, just so that when we are looking at the listings table, we are getting an aggregated view of listings across multiple marketplaces. So overall, I think there will be pretty huge changes coming to trends and indexes, right, from a macro perspective. And also in God Mode, you're going to get a lot more cool widgets, right? And in order for us to develop and iterate these widgets really quickly, we usually reach out to our community members, whether is it on Discord or is it on Twitter or within Nansen itself, to get really quick feedback on whether this is a chart that you will use, what kind of alpha you can potentially find from this chart, or how does it support your trading hypothesis. So stay tuned for more. I think in Q4 there's a lot of exciting things that are coming up.
Yeah, cool. I just want to mention actually while you're saying it, we have all the NFT data for other chains as well. Off the top of my head, I think 5. So BNB, Avalanche, Solana, Arbitrum, Ethereum. So yeah, you can look at this data across other NFT chains as well. I did to shill myself, which is horrible, but I just did a thread the other day. If you're like trying to explore NFTs on other chains, Nansen is really good for it. I did like a Solana example. But yeah, so we have all of this across other chains as well, which is pretty amazing. Yeah. is there anything else? I'm just looking that we can fit in 2 minutes. I probably don't think so. Is that it? Do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I think that's a really good summary for all the products
Yeah.
we have under the NFT dashboards. Just remember, like where I know like Paradise God Mode could be a little hard to comprehend for new users, especially. But it's really important to look at the first tab, which is the overview. This would give you an idea of what kind of questions the different dashboards should be answering. For God Mode, it's really collection specific, and for Paradise, it's really across the NFT market.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Sean, for talking about NFTs. It's my favorite thing that we have. So yeah, subscribe. If you want to subscribe to Nansen as well, we should have a link to all of our pricing. You can choose a subscription that you want. If you have further questions, just let us know. Like we said, you can DM us on Twitter or wherever you can find us. We'll talk to you. And yeah, I think that is it. Everyone have a really good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Okay.